All right, guys, we are ready for some practice. So let's go ahead and look at the first question. It says, what exactly is a dot plot? All right, so we know that a dot plot, basically you have a number line and then you put dots above the numbers to represent what you find in your data set. So sometimes, like for the most part, they are number lines that you have, but the example we're getting ready to do is a little bit different. They're actually using colors. So the next question is, are they the same as line graphs? So no, they're not the same as line graphs because line graphs involve lines, and with this we're using dots. So they're not the same thing. All right, so let's go ahead and look. We have a chart here that shows favorite colors. So 6 people said blue and so on and so forth. So it says for number 1, create a number line with your categories at the bottom. So in this case, our categories are colors. Sometimes they are numbers, but in this case it's colors. And then it says place 1 X above each choice for each response. So if you have 6 responses, you're going to have 6 X's. Well, here's the thing. You can do X's, and you'll see that on the next page, but I'm going to go ahead and do dots because that's why it's called a dot plot. You can put dots. So anyway, for blue, there are 6 people that said blue. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And they go right above the other. All right, for red, there was just 4. So I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. For green, there were 8. 1, 2. That's 1 dot there. For yellow, just 2. Pink was 4. Black was 4. And then any other color not listed here, there were 7. All right, so here we are. So I really like dot plots. I think they're really pretty simple. You just look at what your categories are and you put them at the bottom of a line and then you just do your dots. All right, so that's it. That's all you do. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the next page. All right, so it says now what? When given a dot plot, we're not going to say line, a dot plot, we should be able to make interpretations about the center of the data, the spread of the data, the shape of the data. So we'll kind of get more into that. That's kind of like the questions that we're getting ready to answer. So let's go ahead and look. So the title of this dot plot, and if you notice with this one, they used X's instead of dots. It's the number of books read last month by 6th grade students. All right, so let's answer these questions. It says, how many students read 3 books last month? So we're going to go to the 3, and then we're going to count the X's. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 students. How many students, for number 2, how many students read more than 3 books, but less than 9? So they read more than 3, less than 9. So that's basically anywhere from 4 to 8 books. So we're going to count the X's above our 4, our 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right. Number 3, what is the range of the number of books read? All right, so if you remember range, when we did mean, median, mode, and range, the range is your big number, and then you subtract your smaller number. So in this case, we're going to do our bigger number is 10. Our smaller number is 0. And when we subtract it, our range is 10. All right. Number 4, which number or numbers of books read occurs the most? So if we look, does anybody remember what measure of central tendency that would be? If you guessed the mode, you are correct. So the one that occurs the most. So if you look here, it looks like we have a tie with 1 and 3. They both had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 1 and 3. All right, number 5. What number of books read occurs the least? All right, so there's just one that has only 1, and that was 9 books. All right, so it says here, did more students read 5 or more books or less than 5 books? All right, so with this one, we would have to start with our 5, and it's 5 or more, so I would go this way. So let's count that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So for this, we had 16. Now, for less than 5, I'm going to start with the 4 and make my way down this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All right, so did more students read 5 or more or less than 5? So in this case, it was less than 5. All right, number 7. How many students read more than 6 books last month? All right, so I'm going to erase my little lines that I did here, just so it doesn't kind of throw us off for this next question. All right, it says, how many students read more than 6 books? So with this one, it doesn't say 6 or more. It says more than 6. So that's going to be your 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Then it says, what is the median number of books read? And that is, if you remember, think about your interstate. Think about the grassy part in the middle. That's the median. So the middle number. And I'm going to show you how we figure that out. So it's kind of the same when you have a list of numbers, but you just kind of have to watch with this one. All right, so we're going to start with our 0 and our 10. So I'm going to mark the top X for the 0 and then the top X for the 10. Then I'm going to do the next X and then the next X. I have one more at 0, so I'm going to mark it out. Well, this time I don't have any more with 10, so I got to move on to 8 or to 9. I'm sorry. All right. Then I'm going to move to 1 and then I'm going to move to 8. Another 1 and 8, another 1 and 8, another 1, then I got to move to 7. All right, then 1 and 7, 1 and 7 again. Now I'm going to start with my 2, so 2 and 6, 2 and 6, 2 and 6, 2 and 6. All right, now I'm going to go to 3. So I'm going to do 3 and 5, 3 and 5, 3 and 5, and then 3 and 4, 3 and 4, and I have 1, 3 left. So that is my median. Some people, sometimes it kind of throws them off with this, and so sometimes they actually go through and they will list out the numbers because they think it's easier that way. I think it's a little bit more time consuming, but whatever works for you, you can do it this way as well. All right, we're going to skip 9 and 10. You can do that on your own if you want to. You can write 2 more questions based on that dot plot if you would like to, but we're going to skip that for now. All right, now we're going to move on to a stem and leaf plot. So it says here, first define what is a stem and leaf plot? All right, so it's a special table where each data value is split into a stem, which is the first number, usually the tens place, and then it has the leaf, which is the last digit. All right, so it says the stem will include all of the values in the tens place from your data set. Be sure to include all of the values between the highest and lowest numbers. The leaves are going to be your ones digits. They may be in order from least to greatest. And don't forget a title and a key. All right, so it says create a stem and leaf plot using the following test scores. So we're just going to, I'm not going to be creative. The title of this is going to be, oh, let me get my pen going. Test scores. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look, and I am actually going to go ahead and put these numbers in order from least to greatest. All right, so it looks like the lowest score I see is a 55. And then I see a 60. I'm marking out as I go. And then I see a 66. I see a 67. Then I see a 75. And a 77. Then I see an 82. And an 83. I see an 87, an 88, and then I see 90, and I see two 92s, and a 99. So I just think it's easier to go ahead and put them in order. That way I know what my stems are going to be. It's just a little bit easier. So if we look, we're going to have a 5 as a stem because we have numbers in the 50s. We're going to have a 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right, so let's go ahead and do, we're going to do 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. All right. So those are all of our tens values. So we have a 55. We have a few numbers in the 60s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So those are all of our stems. So now what we're going to do is we are going to start with our 5s, so our numbers in the 50s, and we only have one. So all we're going to do is we're going to put a 5 here. I'm going to mark it out. So that represents the number 55. The stem is our tens place, and then beside it is our leaf. It's the ones place. So that is representative of 55. And I'm going to use that one as my key. So if I have a 5 and then that line and then another 5, it equals 55. That's what that means. All right, so let's look at our 60s. So we have a 60, and I'll mark it out. And then we have a 66. I'm not going to put 66 because I already have my stem. I'm just going to put a 6 because that represents 66. And then I also have a 67. So I know it's kind of hard when I'm just doing screen recordings, but you can see this line here is kind of separating. It's 60 and then 66 and then 67. All right, so let's look at our 70s. We have 75. We have 77. And that's it for our 70s. All right, on to our 80s. We have 82. We have 83. We have 87. And we have 88. All right, and then we have our 90s. We have just 90. We have 92. We have another 92. And we have a 99. So you have to put, even if you have numbers that repeat, you still have to put that second 2. So because we had two 92s, you still have to put that second 2. Because if you don't, then it's just understood that you only had one 92. All right, let's go on to the next page. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this stem and leaf plot. They already have it written out for us. They have a title, it's cost of shoes. They have a key. So 5 and then the line 7 equals $57. So if you look, the stems are 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then over to the right of this line, I'm going to kind of highlight it in green if I can. So over to the left of that are the stems, and then everything to the right are the leaves. All right, so it says, how many shoes cost exactly $85? So let me go to the stem 8. And then I'm going to look to the right and see how many 5s there are that represent 85. And there are 2 of those. All right, number 2. How many shoes cost at least $50 but less than $80? So they cost at least $50. So they can be $50. And they can go up all the way to $79. All right, so let's look. I'm going to look at my 50. So I have 1, 2 50s. So I'm going to look within my $50 range. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to put a little arrow here. So I have 4. I have 4 shoes there. Then I'm going to look at my 60s. Oop, my little arrow messed up. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I can go all the way up to my 70s. And that's it. Because I can't go past 80. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I add that together, that is 15 pairs of shoes that range from $50 up to $79. All right, so let me erase this up here. All right, what is the range of the cost of shoes? All right, so remember range, we take our bigger number and then we subtract our smaller number. So our biggest number is right here. It's $99. And we're going to subtract our smallest, which is right here. It's, oop, kind of covered it, but it's $34. So when I subtract those, I get 65 as my range. All right, let me erase these. All right, which cost of shoes occurs the most? All right, well, let's look here. I see one that I think is pretty obvious. There's a few that are close to it, but if you look here on this line, we have 4 zeros in a row, and our stem is 9. So that means that there are 4 pairs of shoes that are $90. So that cost is occurs the most often. Remember, that's our mode. Okay. What is number 5? What is the most expensive pair of shoes? Well, same thing. I circled it earlier. It's the very last one listed. The stem is 9. The leaf is 9. So it's $99. Number 6, do the majority of shoes in this store appear to cost more or less money? Well, if we look, most of the data is found at the bottom of the stem and leaf plot, which is at the most expensive. So they cost more money. Number 7, how many pairs of shoes cost more than $70? More than 70. All right, so if we look starting at our 70 range, our 7 stem, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because we have 72, 72, 72, 75, 75, 78. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With our 80 range, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then with our 90 range, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And if we add all those up, that is 23. All right, and last question here. It wants to know, what's the median? What's the median? So I'm going to do the same thing as I kind of did with my dot plot. I'm going to start with the smallest amount, and I'm going to mark it out. So I'm going to mark out 34, and then I'm going to go to the biggest amount, which is 99. And I'm going to keep moving toward the middle. So I'm going to cross out 37, 98, 39, 98. All right, now I got to move on to my 40s with my lower range. So 41, 95, 49, 95. All right, moving on to the 50s. 50, 95, 50, 90, 55, 90, 57, 90. Moving on to my 60s. 62, 90, 64. Oh, got to move up to my 80s. 89, 66, 89, 68, 88, 68, 87. Now I got to move to my 70s. So 72, 85, 72, 85, 72, 84, and then I'm going to do my 75, and then I've got to go to my higher number here to mark out my 78. So that leaves me with this 5 in the 7 stem row. So we have $75. And then we're not going to do the bottom, but if you want to make up a few questions, you can about the stem and leaf plot. All right, and that is it for our practice. I think that was a lot. We have a few more stem and leaf plots that we could do, but I think that we're pretty good. We've done a lot of practice today, so that I know this video was really long, so I hope that you were able to kind of bear with me and do the practice and you got something from it. So, anyway, I hope you guys are doing great, and I will hopefully talk to you soon. Have a great day.